sis and tell, a whole lot of talk, a whole lot of nothing. Amanda does stand up, Alison's on TV, and when they hop on the phone, you already know it's the place you wanna be. Sis and tell, the podcast that's so sweet. Oh, sis and tell, sis and tell, a whole lot of talk about, a whole lot of nothing. Sis and tell.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man. What's going on?
I am super disappointed at the Target clothing section, I have to say.
It's so funny you say that because I just said to somebody this week that I have not been to Target in a long time. I haven't been there in so long that I have a Target card because, you know, a little plug, you get 5% off every time you use your Target card.
Yeah.
And I got a notification that they were shutting down my card because I haven't used it in more than 14 months.
Ooh.
And someone said they thought it was because the clothing section has gone down in quality and variety.
It's not that it's gone down in quality or variety, more so like the style is very off and it's like they don't know their consumer. I always felt like I could just go there and find a $20 dress and leave.
Right.
And all the dresses are like Little House on the Prairie. You know, they're all like these like floral prints, but really big. And then I've always loved their junior section, but it's the junior section from the 90s. And I did that, right? I don't need to dress like I was dressing in high school. I wore those baby doll dresses, and I don't want to wear a baby doll dress. That does not look good on me anymore.
And by the way, the last time I wore a baby doll dress, and I was not pregnant, and Alan kept saying, I think I've told this, why are you wearing that baby doll dress? And he couldn't stand it, and I held my ground until we went to dinner, and he said, oh, I saw our friend. She asked how you're feeling because she thought you were pregnant. I was like, okay, burning the dress. I might have given it to you. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I would have not. No, thank you.
I won't even wear really like an A-line cut shirt for fear that it has that, you know, it just has that feel to it. So
it's too traumatic. It's too traumatic.
So it's all floral. It's all 90s-ish. That's sad because I used to get, same here, I would get a lot of my staples at Target.
Yeah, it's not doing it for me. But I go there all the time because that's where we use that pharmacy. So I'm always.
Right. And I can't say, I mean, obviously the card will tell you I have not been there in 14 months. So I don't know what they have and what they don't have, but I'm willing to try so I can at least have an educated opinion when it comes to being judgmental. So I am going back to New Orleans for like the 15th time. Poor Abe. He's now realized, our middle son, that he chose a college way too close to home because, and luckily during COVID, we didn't see him at all. We dropped him off in August and it was very much at the time social distance and just crazy. And they've done a great job with the COVID and really on campus hybrid classrooms, whatever that looks like. But as soon as New Orleans started to open up, we're like, oh, we're heading back. So this will be my third time to go there since March, I think. So March, April, and May.
I assumed you were going there to pick him up from college. You're going there to have a vacation.
So we're not going there to have a vacation, but we are going there to pick him up, and we might as well turn it into a sort of vacation. So he, you know, first of all, he doesn't have, you know, a car there, and he doesn't have so much stuff that it's worth it to store. And I also wonder, all these kids, this storage, you know, like a racket, I call it, is got to be a newfound thing. I'm sure there are people who did store stuff, but I literally spent 4 years in college and never had a storage facility. Did you ever store stuff?
Yeah, there was a company that worked with our university, and you would label it and store it with them, and then they would bring it back to you the next year.
But what is it that you stored? Bring what back to you?
I had like all of my dorm room, like the linens and just the non-clothes, like the decor. I had so much crap. I don't know. It was just like the stuff you didn't want to take with you, right? It was not the non-clothes clothing items. I had a big trunk that I stored. I had a friend who her stuff got ruined because someone stored bleach and the bleach
Oh
leaked
no, that's
from someone else's boxes all over her stuff. And yeah, it's so much. I still have nightmares that I have to pack up my college dorm and get it to
put
the
it somewhere,
storage
right.
people. Yeah, it's just the same nightmare I have that I still have braces. It's
So
awful.
I'm doing a Zoom little cocktail session with my college roommates and friends next week. So I'm going to have to ask them. Maybe I just don't remember. And that could be possible that I've just totally erased it from my memory. But I have literally zero recollection of boxing anything up and having it stored for the summer and getting it back the next year. I just don't think I had enough stuff. I think it's not like I was buying those little plastic bins or anything that I needed to crate up. And all the furniture, I lived on campus for 3 years. So all the furniture came with the dorm room. And then the only thing that I would have stored would be, as you said, the non-clothes, but towels and linens. I mean, we were used to bringing that back and forth for camp. So I'm pretty sure I
Did you
just
have a
brought it
printer?
back.
Did you have a printer?
Maybe. I don't remember having a printer.
I think y'all had a storage facility. Here's the thing. You had a car on campus, right?
Not until junior year.
Okay. So there goes that theory. Because I thought maybe
Right.
you were like just driving your stuff back, but
No, I mean, that would have
I,
made sense junior year, but I can't remember. I just can't remember from freshman to sophomore year anything that I don't think I had a printer freshman year. I barely had what was considered a computer. It was like a brother typewriter. I didn't get a real computer. The Apple IIe, no, the Apple SE30. The 2E was what we had at our house. The Apple SE30, which was specially, I think, marketed to college students. I got that my sophomore year, and I don't think I invested in a printer. All this to say that it's not worth my storing what little stuff he has, meaning his bedding, his towels, and things like that. So what I'm going to pay
yeah.
$500. I don't even know what the cost is because I didn't look at it. So I can literally spend a tank of gas, drive down there, and pick up all his stuff. I bought him, even though I've never been to IKEA, I have heard about all of these IKEA bags. Do you know about these? Have you
The
seen
blue
these?
bags, the big
So
blue.
it is the blue bag, but not the open blue shopping bag. It's a square type of duffel looking bag, but it's really thin
Oh,
material.
I need that.
Okay, so this is what I've discovered. It's taken me 2 kids in college to figure this out. But instead of getting them boxes for storage, or in this case, to store back at my house, people had suggested these square duffel-like bags that IKEA started with. You can get knockoffs, of course. I got like 4 for $24, and they're huge, and you can fill them to the rim, and they're waterproof. And they sort of have a backpack thing if you want to carry it on your backpack, but much sturdier and more dependent than a box. So there you go. So we're going
All
down to New
right.
Orleans to pick him up. The whole packing and pickup should take about 2 hours, but we're planning to spend the weekend there. And Abe kindly told me, by the way, I don't want to be with you while you're there because it's my last weekend of school. And I said, of
Right.
course,
I
of
understand
course.
that.
So Al
All
and I
right.
are having another weekend. It'll be fun.
Is the drinking age in New Orleans 18? Or
It's
did I
not
make that up?
18. No, well, so it's a loaded question. It's not legally 18. However, there is a law in Louisiana and I believe in Wisconsin and maybe a few other states too, where if you are with a parent or guardian and you are 18, you are allowed to legally drink. So there's that
Oh,
loophole. I won't say
interesting.
it's legal. It is a legal loophole. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
But Abe had a really good roommate situation this year because he actually knew his roommate going in. They chose each other.
He did. And, part of me is always with the boys, oh, don't you want to go like the tried and true rite of passage method where you get a random roommate and then you have to navigate it no matter
That
what it
doesn't
is?
it doesn't happen anymore because now there's like a matching service. It's like JDate. It's
There
like
is.
Match.com
At
for
some schools still go with the you cannot request a roommate and we're going to use some of our own algorithms or actually people, the RAs get together and they decide who the roommates are. Every school is different. Abe did know his roommate and it actually worked out exceptionally well because during COVID, he and his roommate were basically sequestered in that dorm room for most
Oh,
of first
yeah.
semester. So if he did
Oh,
not like
Lord.
his roommate, that would have been a nightmare.
Did
But
you get to choose your freshman year roommate, or was that
no.
assigned?
Oh gosh, that I don't even think. Well, okay, I take that back. We
Because you knew
did.
people from camp.
Yes, you don't know this story? I'm still, mommy's going to be listening. So, and no, mommy was on my side. So I was going, the only reason I even applied to Brandeis was because my best friend from camp, Lauren, had applied early and gotten in. And when she came to visit me during, Christmas, Hanukkah break that year, she begged me to even apply to school. She's like, just apply and please, and we could go to school together. I swear I did not apply. I don't think I submitted it till January. I think it was pretty late for those times. And so I said, okay, so I sort of haphazardly applied. It ended up being my first choice. And then we wanted to room together. And mommy and daddy were all for it because she lived in Connecticut. It's not, I mean, we spent summers together, but we hadn't really spent that much time. And her parents, who love me, I love her parents, but said, you know what? They already know each other. Let them go and do their own thing, have their own roommates. They can always fall back on each other, which was fine. And Lauren had a perfectly, adorable, fabulous roommate who wasn't, I don't think she and Lauren were necessarily, socially together all the time, but got along famously well. My roommate, on the other hand, was not the ideal choice. It's not like we didn't get along, but we really led separate lives. Separate until I walked in on her having relations with her significant other. And that
There was no sock on the
there
doorknob?
was nothing on the anything, if that makes sense. And
I
that,
hope there was a sock on his doorknob.
well,
Oh.
let me just say, as I tell the story, I still have a mental image of what I saw, and it still haunts me. There's still this post-traumatic sex disorder that I'm now dealing with. That neither here nor there. Look, at least she had a boyfriend. It's more than I could say my freshman year. So that never happened again, and I'm sure she apologized.
Were they embarrassed?
Let's just say I walked in because I had to get a book or something, and everybody froze. Everybody froze, no matter what they were doing. And then what do, right? Like, do you keep going? Do I get the book? Do I slam the door? I decided I still need the book, whether the damage is done. So I grabbed whatever I needed. I closed the door. I didn't go back for probably 2 days. Luckily I had friends I could stay with and gave them enough space. I think we were all very, very gracious about it, but also very happy that we didn't have to see each other for those next 2 days. So she was a great roommate. And then of course I chose my roommates for the next 3 years and beyond. What about you? Did you know your freshman roommate at BU?
No, that was random. And then I chose to not have roommates.
Oh, you lived alone? You had a single?
So sophomore year, I had a single, and which I chose. And I do not like sharing. It's one thing to share an apartment with someone. It's a whole other thing to share a room.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I just can't with that. Aaron's lucky I sleep in a room with
Right.
I need my space. I'm so extroverted, but I need to be by myself and have privacy. So throughout college, freshman and sophomore year, I lived in the dorms and then got an apartment with my friend Jessica, junior and senior year. And we were friends, but we didn't hang out all the time. I loved her friends, and we would have people over for dinner and do things together, but we also had separate lives. So that worked out real nice. And I don't really have any embarrassing roommate stories like you do, but I do have a worst roommate in the world story, and that happened when I moved to New York.
Uh-oh.
So
I don't even
so
remember who you lived with in New York.
Mostly it was Aaron, and he's not the worst roommate.
I was going to say, I hope you've gotten over that.
Thank God I had his place to stay. But I went to NYU, and I moved into Alumni Hall, which is mostly graduate student housing, and it was so small, especially compared to my apartment in New York. So I quickly started looking for an apartment and found this apartment in the financial district, like a brand new building. So it was beautiful, it was spacious, and there are these two not brothers, they were first cousins who annexed part of the apartment and created a third bedroom. So they rented out one of the bedrooms to me. And for me, it was like I liked them, and was hung out with one of the guys and his friends a lot when Aaron was at London School of Economics for the summer. And then when Aaron came back, I ended up really just staying at his apartment. But there were little things, like little hints towards this is not a good situation.
Oh my gosh, this is sort of coming back to me now that you now that you're saying this. Yes, keep going.
That I should have picked up on. Number one, and this is not a hint, just a little viewpoint into these cousins, could not have been more different from each other. One of them worked in the financial district, extremely type A personality, very like you couldn't joke with him. He was super serious, wore a suit when he was working out, he had no casual. And his cousin had quit college, was living off of his parents' money, and was continuously trying to come up with quick money-making schemes.
Oh,
not
gosh.
not entrepreneurial business ideas, but schemes, right? And one of them was he tried to create a website where people could order pharmaceuticals from Canada or other countries for people with like chronic diseases and illnesses, right? And it was actually illegal at the time. I don't know if you can even do that now.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, it sounds like a good idea.
Right, but it was not, it was illegal. And I don't think anything, he was always trying to come up with like money making.
A get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
Not a legitimate business. Okay.
Right. So not legitimate. So I had this whole, I had my bedroom there once, like Aaron's dad came to visit. And so that I like would sleep in my room then. But I left, it's weird though. I left my computer in there. I guess I would go use it to do work or something. So I went to go grab my computer, and Jason, who was the type A person, who was he was out of town. And I walked into this scene.
Oh gosh.
I'm in my nervous. Living room where there is a camera set up facing the couch. There is a weird looking mask on top of the television. And I'm just going to say it. There was a sex toy also. And I looked at the scene and I said, oh my God, they're shooting. They were going to shoot a
porno. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And can you specify what kind of mask? Because during COVID, of course, I immediately picture a face mask, but I think you're thinking more like eyes wide shut mask.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Eyes wide shut mask. And so I walked into the other roommate's room. I'm just going to say it, Shooky. His name was Shooky. And I walked in.
You're not protecting the innocent, because I'm pretty sure there's one Shooky.
Right? I walked into Shooky's room and I looked at him and I said, are you shooting a porn in here? And he and his friend look up at me and go, no, we were not. And so I walk back out, I go get my computer, and I'm like, I'm not an idiot. So I walk back in, I go, well, I know you were shooting a porn. What were you doing? What are you doing?
In your best mom voice at the age of 23, right?
Yeah. And they're like, even younger than that, but they're like, well, we were, but she didn't show up. I was like, what? So what they were going to do is they were planning on starting like a webcam business, right? We're like online porn. And they had posted a Craigslist ad to get someone to come over to the apartment and do whatever in front of the camera. And she probably chickened out because it didn't seem legit. And good for her for not showing up. So I would have walked in on that, but she didn't show up. And so then they're like, well, she never showed up. So it didn't actually happen. And then I called Jason to tell him what had happened.
Let's be clear. You called Jason to tattle.
To tattle. Yeah. He should know. Right. I said, I want you to know that your cousin was getting ready to shoot a porn in the apartment. He did it purposely when you were out of town. Okay, so this is happening. And that's when things went even further south.
Oh, no. Because you
The
thought
shoot,
Jason was going to be on your side, right?
no, he was on my side.
Okay.
Yeah, and he got mad at Shooky, and Shooky then called me up and bitched me out.
Oh,
Right? Like I
gosh.
was why would you tattle on me? I was like, seriously? We're not talking about you throwing a party when your cousin's not here and letting your friend sleep in his room or something like that. You were shooting a porno in the apartment. Okay? I think there's a pretty clear line. So then he just got mad at me, and he would do things like put chocolate pudding in the toilet and make it look like really
Oh,
like kind of like passive
gosh.
aggressive dumb
Yeah.
stuff. But it topped when I moved out and I sold my couch to Aaron's cousin, who went to go pick it up when I wasn't there, and Shuki had let his dog run through the mud and then run all over the couch on purpose.
What a
So
jerk.
that, yeah, yeah. So this is what we were dealing with. And he had told me that their last roommate he got mad at and put crickets in his room. Like he's like a frat boy who never finished college. Maybe he went back. Maybe he's now married
Oh,
and
please, you
has
have to
like
have a Shuki update. You don't have a Shuki update?
no,
We're all
I
dying
don't.
here. I
I
can
don't.
speak on behalf of everybody listening to this story. We need to know what Shuki is doing now. How did
I
Shuki
have
shake
no
out?
idea. I don't. I don't even remember his last name, so I can't even stalk him on Facebook to find out. I don't remember Jason's last name. I don't remember Shuki's last name. I that's all I know, and I'm grateful because I feel like if he found me, he'd do something mean. Like give
If
us
he hears this podcast, we're
yeah,
both in trouble.
he yeah, I think he would. If Shuki, if you were listening though, I will totally tell your side of the story. If you and we never have guests on, but Shuki, if you are listening, I will give you a chance to give your side of the story.
And
And
and also, let's add, if anybody knows Shuki, because that's a pretty, unique name, call us and let us know where
oh,
he is now and if he's okay.
well, it doesn't very. I don't care if he's okay, but it, it doesn't sound like a. It doesn't sound like a very common name, but it's actually a derivative of Joshua. It's like the Israelis call Yehoshua's Shukis.
Oh, so there's like
It's a
5,000
nickname.
Shukis listening to this going, I never lived with
Right.
Amanda
That
Goldstein.
is not, I do not know Amanda Goldstein. He's like talking to his wife right now.
It's
Ilana,
like
no,
it's like
that is not
Jacob.
me.
Yaakov is Kobe. So
Yeah.
Yehoshua is Shuki. I didn't know that. Okay. So on behalf of all the Shukis out there, sorry. We're sorry if we've
Right.
offended anybody.
The last time I spoke with them was I moved out around July or August of 2001. So a month later is when September 11th happened,
Yeah.
and I called to check to make sure they're okay. And because especially Jason, who worked in the World Trade Center,
Mm.
and he was okay, and Shuki was nowhere near there because he was working on some sort of scheme in his apartment. God knows
He
what
had
he ended
porns
up
to
going
shoot.
to.
Yeah. So
Right.
here's one of the things I took from that story. I'm shocked, really, that Craigslist was around 20 years ago. Has it been around that long? When you said they tried to get the porn star from Craigslist, I just can't believe that had started that long ago.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
been around for a long time. Craig's
Yeah.
list. I
When did Craig
actually
start
very
that list? Yeah. And
Craig.
I know you didn't have a great experience with Shuki, but that was pretty resourceful at the time to crowdsource all those different ways because
Yeah.
he could have made it big in the porn industry.
No, it was smart.
That
No,
was an
and
emerging web business. So
it was real. He really should have continued with it. He may have too. He may not, but he gave up pretty easily. I have to say, one person doesn't show up, so you're done.
right.
There. So that's why you got to book multiple people, right? You need a contract.
Can you
You
imagine
go
if he
through
had enlisted
someone.
you to be the producer? You would have had that show on the road
Oh,
in so little time.
thank God my name has changed. Craigslist has been around for 26 years, by the way.
26 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's insane.
That's
Wow.
insane. They've been listing stuff for 26 years.
It began in 1995 as an email just distribution list. and then became web-based in 96.
Well, there you go. All right, back to the roommate situation. I think the takeaway here is also that if you have an opportunity to live by yourself at any point in your life, and I'm not just saying your own room in an apartment with 2 or 3 others, or your own room within a dorm with others, but really live by yourself, you should take advantage of that. Whoever you are listening to this, and it may be too late for some of you listening to this, which is fine. But if you are, starting out and graduating college and have the opportunity and the means to do it, I mean, when I was living in Chicago, I had a roommate the first year out of grad school, and then my roommate from college, also Stacy, and then she moved to Baltimore for grad school. So I had to find something within my budget, and I was literally living hand to mouth, and I found this studio apartment. It was maybe 676 square feet, definitely less than 700 square feet, but it
on
was
Michigan
all mine.
Avenue in Dearborn,
No,
right?
you're close. Dearborn and North and Dearborn.
Okay.
But gosh, good. I worked at Michigan and Dearborn, so.
Okay, that's where I have it in my head.
Yeah. So, or Michigan and North, which way does that run? Anyway, same idea. Anyway, I lived by myself. It was small, but it was all mine. And I am also a very gregarious, outgoing, social person. And so I need people around me, but I don't always need people around me. So it was a way to have people with me. And then if I didn't want people with me, I could go and be a recluse.
Yeah, I did live by myself. After senior year of college, I got a 1-bedroom apartment right across from the 2-bedroom apartment that I had been in with my friend Jessica. And it was amazing. I loved it. And Aaron and I went back about 5 years ago for my friend's wedding, and we stopped by the apartment building, which we could easily get into. It looked and it smelled the exact same.
Oh gosh.
It was on top of this like weird seafood restaurant, so the entire place still smelled like MSG. It was like a multi-sensory memory experience. It still had the same graffiti, and the elevator that was always broken was still broken, which I thought was so funny. It had not changed one bit. In fact, this elevator, this goes to show you how lazy I can be. I was on it was a 4th floor apartment, and I guess you should call it a walk-up because that elevator only works sporadically. And one time I just did not feel like walking up those stairs, and I saw this elevator repair person coming out of the elevator, and I said, okay, I'm going to go in. I go into the elevator. There was no out of order sign.
Oh no.
I press the button. The doors close. There is no light on in the elevator.
You're in pitch black?
Pitch black. Not even are the buttons lighting up.
Oh, no.
But the elevator moves, and I'm like, okay, it's just 4 floors. It's just like your eyes are closed. So the elevator goes up, and then it stops, and it starts to shake.
Oh, no.
And I hear something going, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, okay, what is that? How am I going to get out?
You think you walked into a dryer, a clothes dryer instead of an elevator?
It sounded like a clothes dryer, and that there were rocks in it.
I mean, think about it. You close the door, you pushed a button, you close the door, it turned dark and it shaked. It was hot. You might have walked into a dryer. You just didn't know it.
It was a giant dryer.
So what'd you do?
So first of all, I didn't have a cell phone.
Right.
Cell phones didn't even exist, and if they did, it wasn't going to be working in an elevator.
You could have called Craigslist.
They did. Oh, missed connections. Yeah, I mean, cell phones did exist. I have to say, I don't know why I said they didn't. They did exist. I just didn't have one. So I was trying to figure out what was wrong with the elevator, and I figured I would have to fix it somehow so I could get out. And it sounded like something was wrong with the door, and the door was like trying to close, and that's what was making that noise. So I took my hands and I forced the door to close a little further, and that's what it was. And then the elevator started moving again.
And did the lights turn on?
No, the lights never turned on until the door opened and I saw the hallway light. And I was like, that was dumb. And then like a month later, my friends Jill, who I grew up with, and Julie, they came to visit me. And at the end of their trip, they have all their luggage. And I go, you should not take the elevator. And I go, it
whatever
breaks all
you
the
do,
time.
don't take the elevator.
Right.
This is like a horror film. Let me guess. They took the elevator.
They took the elevator. I said, don't take the elevator. It's not worth it. Guess what happened?
They got stuck.
It got stuck. And I had to call the fire department.
No.
And yeah, I had to call the fire department. They opened it up and they were like halfway and they had to like I said, I told you. And don't get a roommate named Shooky.
Lesson learned.
Well, if you know Shooky and you're listening, you can tell him to go. No, I'm just joking. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of Sis and Tell podcast. And Shooky, if you're listening, email us, sisters@sisandtell.com, and tell us your awful roommate story, which probably was me. We want to hear your side of the story. You got something crazy to share, whether you're Shooky or not? We'd love to hear it. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram. Find us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
As always, this has been Amanda and Alison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.